Good evening, everyone, and hello to all of you who are gathered at Patagonia during Climate Week at this pivotal moment for our planet, but also such a definitional moment for our oceans, particularly. We owe a great debt of gratitude to the Chouinard family for their incredible leadership on the environment and for their contributions to conservation and for their incredible foresight and vision in literally making the planet their only shareholder. And that is a remarkable statement. So it's particularly fitting that you're gathered at the site, not just of an outdoor apparel brand, but you're doing so with one synonymous throughout its 50-year history of environmental activism with a conviction that the planet relies on the health of wild places. Tonight's event is absolutely critical to put that vision into action. And as you know, at least I hope you do, I worked very closely with President Biden and Vice President Harris as special presidential envoy for climate in order to link both the challenges and the opportunities that are presented by the climate crisis. And there is no greater synergy of both of those agendas in the oceans we share as a global community. Each of you understands that the climate crisis is anything but a distant threat. It's here, now, everywhere, all around the world. There's no country, no group of people anywhere in the world that don't feel the impact one way or the other. And every record-breaking heat wave, every devastating flood, every disappearing glacier, all Mother Nature's unmistakable and unrelenting message, if not plea with us, that we need to change course and we need to change course now. But as daunting as the challenges can seem, the power of human ingenuity to accelerate our capacity to innovate and adapt is not far off or distant either, thank God. It's here and it's now also. And if we seize it with the urgency that the crisis demands, we actually have an opportunity to win this fight. I believe we can do that. But the one thing we know for certain, there is no course that we can chart towards a net zero world that doesn't navigate the ocean. It's that simple. You cannot solve the climate crisis without protecting the ocean, and you can't protect the ocean without solving the climate crisis. And in meeting both of those imperatives, crisis actually meets opportunity, huge opportunity. Frankly, the greatest opportunity that we've known in our economies since the Industrial Revolution. But we have to look for a moment at sort of this connection. Obviously, the ocean is hugely impacted by heat. 90% of the heating of the planet goes into the ocean. And we see heat in parts of the ocean that's just unfathomable. Last year, 101 degrees Fahrenheit off of Key West. I mean, that's as hot as somebody's hot tub somewhere in the world. And the fact is that the oceans also are subjected to the massive rainfall that brings with it the dropping of the particulates that come from coal burning and fossil fuel burning, and that changes the chemistry of the ocean, frankly. So, as I've said to a number of you before, when I left the White House as special presidential envoy of climate, I may have left the job inside of government, but I'm not retiring. I felt it was critical to pick up the work that I was engaged in outside of government, where so much work has to be accomplished in order to win this fight. And let me just emphasize to all of you, because of what we achieved in Dubai last year, in the decision made by almost 200 nations, we said together that we are all going to work to transition away from fossil fuel, to accelerate during this decade, to do it in a way that is fair and equitable and orderly, but also so as to meet the net zero 2050 according to the science. And according to the science means that we are going to try to achieve the 1.5 degrees limit on the warming. So really, Dubai made the greatest step forward in defining our mutual mission. And the challenge now is to implement it, to implement it. We have to make the things happen that we promised we would do. So I'm now picking up the work outside of government, as many of you can and will do. And that is where, frankly, a lot of work has to now be done. Bring the solutions to scale and to do it with the speed necessary to avoid the worst consequences of the climate crisis. My friends, not so long ago, a few months ago, I attended the Our Oceans Conference in Athens, the same conference that we started a decade earlier when I was Secretary of State. And frankly, I think this is as big a challenge as we face, that of protecting a world covered by more than 70% water, that we protect the oceans, which are the source, literally, of life on the planet. Still, the oceans providing about 51% of the oxygen that we breathe. So to do this, to win this battle, it means we must honor the reality that we cannot win the climate crisis without simultaneously protecting the ocean and vice versa. So we need all hands on deck, and we need to save the threatened waters and species that ultimately will turn the tide. 1 decade later, and 2,100 individual pledges later, valued at approximately $128 billion, the proof is all around us about what a galvanizing force for ambition the Our Oceans movement has become. And collectively, there were over $11.3 billion worth of new commitments made in Greece at the last conference. We also have to remain humble enough to realize that in the race against time itself, even our current ambition is not enough. And that's because the scale and the scope of the challenge is growing every single day. Therefore, our commitment must also keep growing just to meet the moment and the test of tomorrow. So, my friends, I think we can win this fight, but there is literally no time to rest when more than 60% of the coral reefs that host over 25% of marine life are threatened, 90% in danger by 2030 at the course we are currently on. There's no time to rest when up to 1/3 of the seafood that we import is illegally harvested. No time to rest when less than 3% of the world's oceans are actually highly protected right now. And there's no time to rest when scientists tell us that our actions in this decade are what will forever shape our ability to stop the collapse of the oceans and prevent the worst of the global climate crisis. So, making 3030 real is absolutely essential. And that is a big part of the challenge that you focused on tonight, and I thank you for that. The Pacific remote islands are among the world's last wild, healthy ocean ecosystems. And as you all know better than I do, they hold an immense natural and cultural heritage, which now is even more vulnerable in the face of the climate crisis. So now is the moment to protect this special place to the fullest extent of the U.S. exclusive economic zone and to create the world's largest highly protected marine area. Most importantly, if fully protected, the Pacific remote islands would fulfill President Biden's challenge to all of us to protect at least 30% of U.S. marine waters. Every country needs to do more faster, diplomatically, through protections and with support of communities and NGOs and countries who need it. And I thank you for all of you helping to push the kind of leadership we need. We are literally at a tipping point. The decisions we make today are going to determine the future of our oceans. There's no question about it. And ultimately, because of the ocean's connection, as I mentioned earlier, to the rest of the climate challenge, it will affect the future of the world. We're lucky to have had a Biden administration that told the world that, quote, protected really needs to mean protected. And now we are on the 1-yard line of a prime opportunity to fully protect the Pacific remote islands. And that would unequivocally take the United States over the finish line on a 30% commitment. This is our chance to run through the tape with the Biden administration and with the efforts of a lot of countries around the world. So let's all stand with them and stand together for high integrity marine protected areas and help everyone to deliver on the Pacific Remote Island Sanctuary designation. With the right ambition, my friends, with the right policies, with the right partnerships, with the right genuine work by individuals, we can reshape the course of the future. I have no doubt about it. We can ensure a healthier, more equitable world for generations to come. We can have a world that is cleaner and safer, and frankly, one which provides meaning to the whole concept of sustainability, which right now, frankly, people are making a mockery of. So that's the challenge. This can be a huge step in the right direction. And I urge all of us to seize this opportunity. Let's meet this moment together and let's get the job done. Thank you.